showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
I want to welcome you guys out today to episode 173 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris Hollifield. I am your host. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for checking it out. However you found it, however you're listening to it, thank you so much for giving it a listen. I got a great show for you guys today. Dave Marquardt from the Beehive Sport and Social Club, he joined us on this episode of the podcast. He shared his story. We find out all about the Beehive Sport and Social Club. We talk kickball, flag football, volleyball, soccer, ultimate frisbee. We talk about it all. I'm going to be playing that conversation here in just a minute. Before I do jump into that, though, I want to tell you guys about Crucial Fest. It's coming up here real soon, depending on when you're listening to this episode, going on June 18th, June 19th, June 20th, right here in Salt Lake City. You can see the complete lineup. Go to crucialfest.com. It's where you can buy tickets. You can see the lineup. You can see the schedule. He's got it broken down so you can see what bands are playing which day and which time. You can buy individual tickets. You can buy a complete package, as well as there's accommodations listed right there. If you're coming from out of town, you need to book a hotel. Make sure to go to crucialfest.com and find out all about that. Again, June 18th through the 20th right here in Salt Lake City. Like I mentioned, Dave Marquardt from the Beehive Sport and Social Club joins us on this episode of the podcast. We find out his story. I want to thank Ryan Prince for co-hosting this episode with me. I want to thank John Farmer from American Musicians Radio for letting us use his studio to record in. Why don't you guys join me now as we talk to Dave Marquardt at the American Musicians Radio Studio in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. I want to welcome Dave Marquardt out to today's episode of the podcast. We have Ryan Prince sitting in co-hosting this episode. We're recording at American Musicians Radio Studio in Salt Lake City, AMR.FM. Go there and listen to local music from all over. I was telling Dave a little bit about it. And
yeah, it sounds very cool. Actually, this is the second time I've been in here because
you've been here before.
I have been on the a podcast, another podcast that is recorded in this same office.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you came here and you acted like you've never been here, and now I find out. I know.
I felt bad interrupting the whole cool story of how it started and stepping.
You were on a roll there, Chris.
I
hadn't heard the stuff you were saying. It was a cool
plus
story.
Your version was much more informative than the version I got the first time I was here.
So what were you on, like the Whatever Lounge, or?
Yeah, it's I forget the gentleman's name who did it, but
Daniel. Was it Daniel?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Really? How long ago was that?
Probably 2 months ago.
Really?
And then he kept telling me it was going to be on. I never heard if it was on or not, so I kind of forgot about it until just now.
Well, the best part about this is it will be on, iTunes and Stitcher Radio, so people can listen to it at all different times of the day. The beautiful things about podcasts. Let's get chatting. We're going to find out about you, Dave, and find out about we have the Beehive Sports and Social Club.
Yeah,
as well as some other projects that you have going on.
Yeah, I always got a couple aces up my sleeve. But yeah, Beehive Sport and Social Club is probably the most notable thing for the Salt Lake area to talk about today, which is
what is it? I mean, let's start there.
It is a little past its toddler stage now. It's 4 years old as of May 20th, 2015.
Congrats!
Thank you. It's the birthday of like the non-human child that I have.
Are you kind of the founder of it?
Yeah, I started it, and I started it from Richmond, Virginia, which is I grew up here in Salt Lake in the Avenues, went to high school here, went out to Virginia for college, and then worked a job that I hated for a couple years and decided I needed to be a ski bum while my knees were still good and my back could hold up to the rigors of snowbird ski season. So I decided to move back here, and that was about May of 2011. So I got my car, put my whole life in my car, got on the road, and I just started calling everyone I knew from high school who still lived in the area.
You were calling them from the road while you were driving?
On my Bluetooth, I got the sweet jawbone. I was feeling real cool.
Did you wear it on the right side so that people on the left side didn't think you were a total douche?
I wore it on the right side.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that.
But actually, my first stop was in West Virginia. I wore it into the McDonald's in West Virginia.
They'd never seen anything like it.
Oh yeah, it was like mines exploded left and right in the McDonald's.
I thought you were from the future.
And, the woman at the register kept telling me I had something in my ear.
Half my family's from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I feel like there's something to be said. There's some sophistication there a little bit, but then you hear stories about the West Virginia.
There's not much sophistication.
So you're driving out here. You're coming out here. No plan. Nothing was set. No idea what you were going to do. You're just like, I'm going to get back to Salt Lake City.
Yep. All I had was this idea in my mind. So after this job I didn't like, I've been playing in kickball leagues with my friends. And like Wednesday night, our kickball game was the highlight of my week. And Thursday morning when I got to work was the most depressing time of the week because it was the farthest time to the next kickball game. So one night after kickball, me and my buddy from college were sitting on our porch having one too many PBRs, and we decided that, hey, we think we're smart enough to run this kickball league, and it doesn't seem that tough. So this kind of all came together right at the same time I was moving back to Utah. So I figured, well, let's try to do one kickball league and see what happens. So I get on the road and I'm calling people, like I'm talking hundreds of calls a day. And I run at one point in day 3 of 4, I run out of numbers of people who I know. And I just start dialing random 801 numbers from my car and just trying to convince people to sign up for kickball.
Seriously, no kidding.
Were you like in Nebraska by this point, and it was just like mind-numbing scenery?
Nebraska is the most monotonous state in the
It's
union.
awful.
So if you're calling, you're calling people
Kansas,
out.
you're right there with them.
Yeah. So
You're calling
cocky
people, I mean,
Kansas.
what's the?
I mean, the call's go in all different directions, as you can imagine. So I get this one guy who's a butcher. He's in his mid-30s, and he's at the butchering things. And I'm like, I've kind of, after call 40 or 50 of the number I don't know, kind of gotten into a groove where I know how to get him into a small conversation.
You had your script dialed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, John, do you like, no. So
Do you like kickball?
Exactly.
I mean, people probably were like, what's a
I know.
kickball?
It's much easier than selling vacuums when you say, do you like kickball? Because pretty much everyone likes kickball. So I get this guy, this butcher, and end up talking to him for like 20 minutes, and he becomes one of the first people in the kickball league. And, believe it or not, I actually cold call got people to sign up for the kickball league.
Were you selling them a membership? Was it free?
No, it wasn't free. So it was like it was pretty simple early on. It was like $50. Play kickball with us for 9 consecutive Thursdays. We'll hopefully have some fun and see what happens. And we really didn't know beyond that what it was going to be. And
Did you even have a place to play?
Yeah, I got in touch with a fabulous woman who still works at the Parks Department and has been a fantastic partner of ours from day one. And she recommended we play at this one park that had a good amount of space and didn't have any other things going on. So I get to Salt Lake, and by the time I got to Salt Lake, I have like 107 people, I think, who are like, let's do this.
Nice.
We're ready to play kickball. And
There you go. There's $5,000. You can pay for jerseys. You can pay for
about
balls.
to happen. Exactly.
That's right.
And so I, scrapped together this website that's like a GeoCities page. And this is 2011. And I'm putting together like a web 1.0 site that's just a joke. And people sign up. And then the first week was July 11th, 2011. And me and my buddy here in town who's helped me with this, we go out to the fields with all the equipment. We put the bases down. We get there way too early, like at noon, and the games start at 6 because we're so freaked out about this 100 or so people coming to play kickball. We get everything set out. We hang out. The game starts at 6:15. 6:10, no one's there. 6:14, no one's there. I'm like, well, I guess this is going to fall on its face in day one, and we're just going to have to get real jobs. Oh, well. And then 6:16, it's just like a Mormon caravan of like cars coming into the parking lot, coolers being unloaded, people in their shirts, and kickball starts. And it goes awesome, and people are so psyched about it. And that was like the origin of the Beehive Sport and Social Club.
Okay, so besides kickball, what do you do now?
Well, so we started with kickball, and then everyone had a ton of fun, and they said, well, we don't want to not do something on Thursday nights after work. What else can we do now? And so we said, well, let's do flag football. So we started a flag football season
after
kickball.
Charged them another $50.
Another $50, another 8-9 weeks of fun. and then dodgeball after that. And then by then we were almost to spring, and it was time to play kickball again. And then, it really snowballed out of control in the last couple of years. And now we have 5,000-6,000 people playing sports with us just last year, and probably double that this year.
That's so awesome.
What about tetherball?
I
could be interested in seeing
was that your jam, dude? Or you
tetherball? That was
you versus Napoleon just for the championship?
I've been trying to get Foursquare off the ground too. That's
Foursquare. Okay, now we're talking. Kickball. I feel like I was a dominant force in kickball at Knowlton Elementary in Farmington.
You're not a small guy.
I wasn't then either. Like as per my peer group, just crushed. We booted it. Me and Brandon Burton, just get out of here. Back up. Brandon's up. Anyway, Foursquare too. The spin moves. I had the quickness.
There was so much trickery in Foursquare.
Yeah, I was like Julius Irving with the ball way
everyone
out here.
left feeling cheated from Foursquare because there was always a couple people who knew the spins a little too well and just made them feel inferior.
It matters,
So
it does.
What's going on now? Are you playing? Is it kickball season right now? Or?
Yeah. We're kickball playoffs start next week. So
how many teams are there?
So we have leagues on Wednesday and Thursday nights now. We do it at Liberty Park and also another park like 30th South, and we have 43 teams between the two leagues. So that's 600 or 700 people. Wow. Yeah.
Must keep you busy.
It is crazy. I don't ever complain about my job because I used to have a job I really didn't like, and this one, has its intricacies of things that are unpleasurable, but on the whole, it's a ton of fun. You get to meet a ton of cool people and play sports after work and hang out. So it's not a bad time at all.
What do you like? I was going to ask you what the most challenging thing was, but you kind of talked about it. How just cold calling people in the car.
That was challenging. I mean, that was a real personal growth moment of being okay with failure and that whole process that we all kind of go through at some point in our lives.
What's the craziest thing you heard someone say? I'm sure you just would get what the heck are you talking about?
I feel like I got a disproportionate number of very senior folks who didn't even really know what I was talking about. So when you start from a point of confusion, it only gets more confusing and disjointed as the conversation continues. So eventually I would just hang up out of courtesy because they're clearly it's taking away from their stories during the middle of the day or something like that.
Oh, dude, you can rattle some boats with those folks.
Oh, yeah.
God bless them. Their multitasking skills.
The friendly grandma next door who will just listen to you talk for as long as you got something to talk about, or the ornery old man next door who just wants nothing to do with anybody. Those are the two types of senior calls that I would make on the road.
You're I've got to go, but wait. My son hasn't visited me in a month.
Exactly.
So people listening to the podcast that may not be familiar with what you have going on, they'd go to your website, which is
beehivesports.com.
Great website, by the way.
Thank you.
It impresses me. I don't know if Ryan had an opportunity to check it out.
I checked it out.
There's all kinds of different areas and categories, where to sign up, where to become a member. So obviously somebody listening right now couldn't be part of this season of kickball.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of always doing new stuff. So it's always a good time to go check it out and get plugged in. For example, right now, while, kickball and football are winding up, we have summer soccer, volleyball, softball all starting next month. And then in July, another round of kickball. So there's kind of all things starting pretty much every month of the year at this point. So if you go to the website, you can either jump on the mailing list and then you get I still am proud to write the monthly newsletters, which I try to make as ridiculous as possible. So that's always kind of a highlight for people that I hear from that get the newsletter, or just sign up for a sport that's open for registration.
So anybody can get the newsletter? Yeah,
you just sign up the old email address and you can get the newsletter.
We're getting the newsletter.
Oh yeah,
I want to at least get the. Well, I want to. I actually might. I enjoy some kickball. Would you play some kickball?
Yeah,
with me,
I could bring it back, dude. I'm starting to feel like a little bit of
you could play. You might get hurt.
Oh no, anyone can play kickball.
That's I didn't.
On Memorial Day, you were getting pretty. When we did that little run out by.
Well, that wasn't. I'm coming off of an Achilles scare. I mean, I'm right in my like Achilles tearing prime. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I just turned 37. I'm about 20 pounds above my playing weight when I was just goddamn glorious. And I still have muscle memory of the dunks I threw over guys like you. And
Are you one of those guys that's
I've got to watch it.
Prime.
Dude, I gotta say, my prime was so great that I'm
still in my
Too high a
prime.
benchmark,
I'm still in my
no,
prime.
but I didn't. I don't need to prove anything, and that's been a really great
I'm
thing for
older
me.
than you are.
I know, man. You're the one. I mean, I don't think you're in trouble because I saw your athleticism. I think you're gonna be fine. You're moving at a pace that I think you can keep up with. I'm just teasing, dude. That was shit talking. I was talking fast. But yeah, I don't have a chip on my shoulder anymore. But when it comes to like, do you have fun or not? Yeah, I can totally have fun. Because I got to see like the top of the mountain, dude. It was good.
Yeah, I know.
And then
I think the problem is the people who didn't quite get to the top of the mountain. So you got to the top of the mountain, which is awesome. So you can like dial it back and still have fun.
Right.
But the people that just like weren't able to summit Everest, but got right to the last little push, they are there for all the wrong reasons. And I got 1,000,001 stories about, folks trying to relive their high school glory through adult co-ed kickball.
Let's talk about that actually. So what's the age? Like, is there different age groups, or how do you break people down? Like, if I was to go play, would there be somebody who's 18? Would there be somebody who's like 70? Let's talk ages.
We definitely screen out the 18-year-olds,
really,
and the 19 and 20-year-olds for that matter. It's all 21 plus, so you got to have a birth date. Gosh, the kids are getting so old. These like 98 or something at this point.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's hard to even talk about.
I know, it's depressing, but let's move along. So so you got to be over 21 because we do have like local beer sponsors, and we do have the bar sponsor after the games are over where people can get like drink and food specials. So that's a good time. You guys are nodding. Right? You're obviously in support.
Drinking food specials, after bar stuff.
It's good times. Old wise, I mean, 70 is more than welcome.
What's the oldest person?
I was glad you asked that question because it's a pretty good answer. About 2 years ago, we had, when people sign up, I get to see the date of birth they put in. So it's always kind of like remarkable, some of the older dates. And so this couple signs up, and they were 69 and 67 at the time that they played. And their names, I don't know anything about them until they come out the first week, and their names are Sugar and Spice.
No kidding.
No joking around. And they are lifetime burners. So I've been going to Burning Man for like the last 40 years of their adult life. I've lost a couple of brain cells in the process, but still the most fun, down-to-earth, chill people you've ever met. And they jump on a team with a bunch of 20-year-olds and just have a ball. And everyone loves each other, and they're going out to the bar afterward and hanging out, and good time, Sugar and Spice.
I hope I'm like that when I'm in my late 60s. I hope I'm like that.
I like that because I was thinking, like, if I was going to form a kickball team and I want to stack the team or whatever, is it ever a barrier to entry to people who want to create their own team before they join? Or is there many people who are like, if I join, then you just place me on a team? What if I hate it? I'm sure you've been through a lot of that. Yeah.
People come in all different forms. I'd say kind of generally falls in 3 buckets. Like either you sign up and you already got your group gang of friends that you want to play with, or you sign up and you know no one. And that's kind of a growing part of our leagues actually in the last couple of years is what we call free agents. These people just sign up not knowing anyone and just being at the whim of the team we put them on. And so, they show up week 1, have 6 or 10 new friends, and surprisingly those are the teams that have the most fun bar none because they kind of got the attitude I got nothing to lose, right? I'll either make some great friends or I just won't come back week 2, or
do you give them a refund?
Yeah, we still do our fun guarantee, which is something we started with.
A fun guarantee.
If you aren't having fun by week 3, we'll give your money back, no questions asked.
That's awesome.
And it's never been redeemed.
Really?
Not once.
Everybody's having
We've had
I love
injury
that.
redemptions and other random things, but never someone who said, hey, I'm not having fun, give me my money.
What about kicking somebody out? Being like, horrible attitude, sportsmanship. I mean, maybe they're just
unfortunately
raunchy.
It happens.
Maybe they didn't quite get to the top. This is their moment.
That demographic of society. But, some people just come for all the wrong reasons, and we actively tell them, hey, look, here's a list of leagues that are probably more what you're looking for in terms of competition or
right. You're playing against people that are well above the legal limit,
but
tone it down.
Exactly. Like we're here to like introduce people to other folks and have a good time after work. And so, yeah, unfortunately we've had to kick some people out, not very many, but that's always an interesting conversation to have with someone.
So if you are one of
them from a job that they don't work at. So it's, there's some nuance.
So if you are out for blood and you do just want to be a champion, just know you're playing against people that are playing for fun. So just keep it quiet and just go out and do well.
Exactly. Like you can perform
let it rip.
well, but you don't need to like rub it in people's faces or call names. There's so many remnants of the playground that like make a reappearance in adult.
This is a sociology class. This is funny.
What about like injuries? I mean, especially with the older folks. Do you get nervous? I mean, could they come back and
yeah, this is where I'm tuning in.
Sometimes I would say there's some sports that are more prone to injury for sure. Like flag football, for whatever reason, just always has random more injuries than everything else. It's funny you say that because my main number 2 guy at Beehive and my co-founder at this other T-shirt thing we'll talk about at some point was playing football last week, tore his Achilles.
How old is he?
37 years old.
And he's 20 pounds over his former classic playing weight?
Well, if he's listening
and he works out once or twice a week?
But no, I think he's in good shape. It's just, I mean, no one touched him.
It's so random, dude. That's like the age range. Okay, so I've been in operating rooms before. That was my career for a while, repairing Achilles tendons. And I'm just, every single time I'm looking at one of my peers on the table. Every single one of them. It's a tennis player, 45 to 35, somewhere in that range. And they're just like, yeah, just all of a sudden. So the other day when we were working out on that sidewalk, just taking it easy because I had a little scare.
Well, probably the silver lining in his injury so far has been the day after it happened, I had to take him to the grocery store because he was out of groceries. And at this point, you can't walk or anything. So I take him, and he's got to get that electric motorized cart at Smith's.
Did you rally?
Which is a very interesting experience because you can't like reach anything up high. So I had to really shadow him around and help him do his groceries. The Achilles is a bad injury. Another kind of funny injury story. Not funny, but maybe
they can be humorous as much as you don't want them to be funny. I mean, they're
just cue the Nelson from The Simpsons in your brain.
There's this awesome woman who plays football, and she was running earlier in the season, just fell over, didn't touch anyone, compound fracture in her arm.
Ooh.
Where like you could see the bone doing bad non-bone usual things. And she went to the hospital, got it all fixed up. Next week, she's back there. She's been there every week supporting her team, brings oranges for the team now, brings cupcakes. And, she's a good example of kind of folks that we have, just like real fun people who are social and there for the right reasons, which is not like winning or losing.
So in college, the coolest co-ed basketball, or not co-ed, what do you call it when you do intramurals? Thank you. The basketball team's name is the Panty Raiders. I just want to start a team where it's maybe me, you, 3, 4, 5 of our most athletic lesbian friends.
Those are key. Those teams win.
Called the Panty Raiders. Yeah. I mean, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Nobody has stolen that name, by the way. That's also my fantasy football name, so back off.
I don't think that's been used yet. I have seen every iteration of the word ball in your team name ever used. So if you're listening out there and you want to play a sport, get creative. Don't use the word ball in some sexually suggestive way. Be more creative than that. I know you can do it.
Yeah, use Raiders.
Raiders. There you go.
What about any love stories? Any
a ton. We have an unofficial count of our love stories. 115 relationships that can be. I'm talking things that can be traced back to a game that we hosted. 5 marriages and 3 children that can be traced back to like the after bar of like a kickball or whatever else league.
Strong, dude.
Yeah. So we're bringing people into the world.
Get rid of your Tinder accounts. Get rid of your Tinder. Get rid of your OkCupid.
You don't need it.
And come out and play some, be part of the Beehive Social Club.
I mean, make Beehive the center, but then maybe Tinder can live in the periphery.
Maybe, just to skew Tinder altogether. Come out to Beehive, scout out who you think you might swipe right to, and submit a request to the admin team, and they'll be like, "Yeah, you got to like."
Yeah, I heard that.
And they'll turn over your player card, and they'll be like, "Yay or nay" on your ass. You know?
I heard this story last season of this girl who she was a free agent. She didn't know anyone. She came out. Her referee the first game was someone she had some very awkward Tinder conversations with because they had both swiped each other right. And
hey, guy, don't quit. We need you, right? We need referees. Don't quit.
Exactly. He was cool about it, but you could like sense the tension every time she was up to kick and what was going on between the two of them.
Well, you definitely got my attention here. Well, I want to talk about, actually on the website, the Beehive Sports and Social Club, you have a blog.
Yeah.
And I was kind of lurking around it, as I was kind of jotting down a few notes, when you were going to come on this episode. Found out you were part of this GSL Clothing.
Yep.
T-shirts. There are other things besides T-shirts you do, right?
Yeah, that's not the only thing. So this is like kind of a passion project that started back in November with the guy who works with me on Beehive. And he was the guy who I met because he moved here from Pittsburgh, didn't know anyone, and met everyone through Beehive, including myself. So we decided he was going back to Pittsburgh and wanted to take his friends and family who still live back there some cool Utah gear to kind of show off the state. And all he could find was like tchotchke Chinese made T-shirts of
it's
the
horrible
temple
here.
and
Yeah.
Salt Lake City written on them. And he didn't want to take that sort of stuff back. So that was kind of the impetus for, hey, let's make some like kind of hipper, cooler, edgier design T-shirts that show off all the cool things that we get to enjoy here in Salt Lake and Utah. And so we came out with some designs and have been kind of selling through our website ever since. And the other thing we make to your question is beard butter.
Beard butter. So a guy like myself with a healthy beard,
if we'd love to give you a 10 on the house just to hear what you think of
I would love to. So who makes the beard butter?
My partner Mike makes it in his kitchen, and I'm kind of the sous chef.
Well, how about I try it out and then we talk to him on the podcast about it
that'd be
after,
awesome.
maybe.
Is this like
to do that.
get out of the shower? I mean, we've had a beard conversation.
Ryan can't grow a beard.
No. Ryan shaves his beard so he looks like appropriate, But let's be honest here. One of those two. It might look like shit if I grow it out. Who knows? Maybe I tried. I'm not sure if we. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm jealous of your beard.
Have you ever grown a beard, Ryan?
I'm jealous of your
No, actually, probably this morning I trimmed it up. Was as long as it's been, but I cut like 2/3 of it off. I hadn't trimmed it since we hung out last week. It was at least a 2-week long thing. It's starting to get weird. I didn't like it. So this butter is supposed to help because it felt like I was just. It felt like I was growing natural beard grease
I think you have
myself.
to have some length to it, like it softens it, right? Or do you know? Can you grow a beard, Dave?
I can. I can grow a pretty good beard. But we both actually just cut it maybe a month ago. It was getting pretty gnarly because after we started the beard butter, we both decided we had to grow beards.
Yeah, you got to
at least like the first 6 months.
Represent the brand.
Right. Selling beard butter.
When do you use it? Is it like pardon my ignorance, but
I would say like out of the shower, it's good because it kind of puts an extra layer of moisture kind of underneath the beard. So the rest of the day, your beard's not going to get dry. It's going to look kind of sheen and moisturized and all those good things. But it's also good midday if you're walking into a job interview to kind of shape your beard so you don't have any loose hairs trying to go in their own direction.
I love it. So, because like somebody like myself, I have to wash my beard quite frequently.
Sure.
Because of my day job, it tends to get dirtier.
Yeah.
So, which is the worst thing you can do for a beard is really shampooing it and washing it frequently. So this sounds like it's right up my alley. So you can only get it from the website. Is there any local shops you can get this at?
Just on the website right now.
Which is
GSLclothing.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And
is beardbutter.com available?
I don't know. We didn't check it out.
Everybody and their dog is doing some sort of
beards are so in right now.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd capitalize on that.
They
You're like a male
saw
model.
Yours and they wanted what they saw.
I'd like the I Am Salt Lake logo to include some kind of, screen graphic of you in a beard with your glasses.
Let's work on that. So anyway, so you do T-shirts, beard butter.
Yep.
What else?
T-shirts and beard butter. That's all we're doing right now.
What else do you want to do?
Right
let's
now
talk
we're
vision.
kind of,
Let's talk dream.
Whoa, wait a second. Is this like some Tyler Durden shit where you guys are like sourcing? What's in the beard butter?
Good question. I think it's
radioactive biohazard stuff from behind the UVU hospital.
Just a touch. Just a touch. No, it's like beeswax is the primary ingredient. We get local beeswax from here in Utah. Lanolin, almond oil, vitamin E, and I think that's it.
All
so
right,
it's
nice.
pretty simple. It's pretty.
Nice.
You feel like you're Tyler Durden in the kitchen, like boiling this pot of.
And you guys make it.
Yeah, and you've got veins coming out of your arms and stuff. So I bet you like do it shirtless, and you have like,
oh yeah,
the whole thing going on.
That's the story.
Flickering
for a
light
podcast,
bulb,
but yeah.
And I'll get all the links. I'll get all the links for this
that'd be awesome.
on the show notes for this. So if like you're listening, driving in your car, you can't get to us. So let's talk about some of the designs. I know it's going to be tough to talk about them, for visually, why we're.
Well, I'll tell you,
listening,
our most popular design so far, the number one has been this great one, which Mike had an idea for long before we even created the company, and it was this shirt that kind of had the silhouette of the Snowbird Tram, where we both ski and snowboard every year. Some mountains, the silhouette of the Snowbird Tram, and it said "Church is in session." And that shirt we sold.
That's an awesome idea.
We sold a ton of them, and we wear them around Snowbird when we're skiing, and people always ask us about them, and we've had them in some shops, and they've sold out real quick. So that's a tough one for us to keep in stock, but a real fan favorite among the snowboard community.
So, but the T-shirts, can you get those locally in shops?
Yeah, so we have them. Sports Den carries our shirts. A store, Wasatch Adventure in Trolley Square, and then the other place that we found a lot of success so far early on in this project has been gift shops at state parks around Utah. So if you go into the gift shop at Great Salt Lake, Antelope Island gift shop, or some of the other bigger ones, you probably see a couple of our shirts on the shelf.
Nice work, man.
Great T-shirts. I've actually been meaning to put an order in for it.
Well, you also do a blog, like I was mentioning before we were recording. You do like different spotlights of best pictures in Utah. And I know that my Instagram account was on one of like the top 10 local.
Because your Instagram account's glorious.
There was a time when I was taking more pictures and doing more things with it and organizing the photo walks and.
Yeah.
But talk about that. So there's a blog on the Beehive one as well as the GSL, or no? Yeah.
So GSL has a blog too. Beehive has a blog. The content's a little different, one more sports oriented, but the GSL one, I mean, the reason we started this, we're not going to make a lot of money. It's probably never become a full-time job. We just wanted to shine the spotlight on some of the awesome things that we love about Utah. And the shirts do that on one hand, in highlighting hiking in Utah and a cool, edgy t-shirt design, or skiing and snowboarding, or, whatever else. And that's kind of what the blog does too. There's a lot of people like yourself doing some of these independent projects that are really putting out fantastic work. And that was the purpose, was to highlight some Instagram accounts, some businesses, some charities, whoever we could find that we admired, and show off their stuff in our little section of the city on this website.
Have you guys ever had any tourists that come and play with their friends that are in town that come out?
In the sports leagues?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going back to sports now.
Are we? I don't have to. I was thinking about, the shops, the state parks, and the tourism industry, and selling shirts. And
we have people stop by and ask if they can play, but if they're not registered or in town for 8 weeks.
What about a day pass? $10 day pass, come play some kickball.
We did.
I know. Visit Salt Lake just gets involved in
that would be a good idea. We're actually kind of working on a project right now, so stay tuned. We don't have a website or anything to point you to right now, but I'm talking to City Weekly about partnering up and doing a field day for the city in the later half of the summer. So like giant Jenga and tug of war and kickball and hopscotch and like every goofy game from your past. We're going to bring it all out to a park and invite the whole city. And it'd be like $5 a person, and we'll have some food and drink there and try to have a good time.
Well, let me know so I'll definitely mention it to the listeners of I Am Salt Lake.
I love that you're doing this, man. When you walked in, you remind me of my friends in San Francisco that are all about this stuff. Like, there's a big culture that, like, all of their beta breakers, and they all go out to, the freaking park. I forget what his name is, in the Marina District, and they just do their thing all the time.
It's good until it's bad. Like, we got in a little trouble last year because we've been running this Temptation Station at the Salt Lake Marathon for a few years now, which is about mile 21 of 26. We set up a station where we give out free liquor, free shots to runners. And so it's kind
Make
of like,
sure they hit the wall.
Exactly.
Already.
It's either hit the wall now or like give me that extra boost to the finish line. But that, I think it's actually technically legal because we don't charge anything. We just give it out to people who are of age and want some. But that always draws the ire of the powers that be in this state. So, you kind of have to walk a fine line here in Salt Lake of the stuff that you try to organize.
Let's go back. I want to talk about some of your favorite things about Salt Lake.
Yeah.
People that come on the show, I'll always talk about, kind of a couple of recommendations. Like,
somebody's in trouble.
That person's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, there's your tax dollars at work.
That's the best part about recording here is we get the ambulances in the background.
We always record with the door open too, just so we don't all melt. But
anyway, you have a friend visiting from out of town.
Yeah.
Just somewhere they have to check out. Is there an area or a building or something that you say, hey, you got to check this out in Salt Lake?
Hopefully they have 2 days here, and I kind of do one day that's the stuff you'd find if you Googled that. Like, we'll go check out the temple. You
got to check out the temple.
Kind of
you
its
have
own
to.
Unique scene of itself. We'll go check out, Main Street in Park City, walk around. You get a feel for where these celebrities come, hang out for a few days a year. Those sorts of spots. And then I had a second day. I definitely go on a hike because, I don't think even people live here. Sometimes I'm sure most of the time I don't appreciate how awesome it is to get up 8,000 feet in the air, be able to have this vista of a city and mountains all around you, wildlife, fresh air. And it's 15, Trailhead's 15-minute drive from your house. Most places in the city. It's unbelievable and pretty unique. So I'd take them on a hike, and then I'd take them out to kickball because but at this point we got something going on every night of the week. So I'd have them come hang out at the leagues.
What about favorite eating spots? Do you have any favorite eating spots in the city?
I growing up would go to Cinegrill a lot.
To where now?
Cinegrill.
Not familiar with it.
Really?
Maybe I am.
It's not in its original location anymore. It used to be on 3rd East and like between 3rd and 4th South. And it was like this Italian, humble, you wouldn't recognize it driving past the street spot. But they make this amazing lasagna that's in a metal bowl and fantastic garlic bread, awesome salad.
Huh.
All the Italian staples. So whenever my parents would go out, we would always strong-arm the babysitter into taking us to Cinegrill. So that one has a lot of fond memories in my mind. I think they're located down by like the Bees ballpark now, I want to say. Cinegrill. Anyway,
I'll check it out.
Beyond that, I don't know. Some of the Utah staples like Crown Burger was always a favorite high school lunch spot of mine. But yeah, those are probably a couple. Oh, Rio Grande is my favorite Mexican place in town. I grew up going to Rio Grande and then going to the Jazz game. We're getting some shakes. I think shakes of the head in here.
No,
everyone's got their favorite Mexican food.
I want to go to Rio Grande. I mean, I like wanted Nacho Fest to happen where we have we have Pride Week coming up, and then we have a whole week of nachos around. The City Hall. Just everybody bring out their food truck. Where's Rio Grande though?
Maybe the Rio Grande might be just as tied to going to Rio Grande and then going to Jazz games afterward, because that was always a fond memory of my childhood when they were good, which hopefully they will be again sometime soon.
Well, cool.
It's an uphill.
Cross your fingers.
You know what? Hey, just hold on tight if you're a Jazz fan.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, Ultimate Frisbee. We didn't even talk about Ultimate Frisbee.
Do you play Ultimate Frisbee?
Dude, Ultimate Frisbee was our jam. That was our track practice for most of the time, because track practice in high school, if you're a high school kid and you listen to this, track practice is a joke. Unless you're like a pole vaulter or something where you got to pay attention. But for the most part, you run your bit and then you play Ultimate Frisbee. At least that's what we did. So
yeah, we just started our first Ultimate Frisbee League this spring.
Okay.
And people
See, now we're talking.
People are loving it. We got probably 100 people out the first season, which is awesome.
Do you have a standard Frisbee you use?
Yeah, I don't know any of the specifications.
Okay.
I ordered them on Amazon. They looked very official. In
Nice.
a pack of 6 in different colors.
Perfect.
But yeah, it's been a big hit so far. You know, the tough thing about starting a new sport in Beehive Nation is we kind of always try to adjust the rules so that it's really fair for both men and women. You know how some sports, like women just get excluded. Like the guys who are dominant take over and they don't ever touch the ball.
So you're like,
Frisbee.
you have to have a girl catch the Frisbee every third time.
So we try
or
to like
something.
kind of finesse the rules so that everyone's included and having a good time. So we've, the last few weeks been going through some of the pain points of trying to figure out what the right rules are for Frisbee and finessing them. But we're getting there, and everyone's having a good blast. The thing about Frisbee players is they're just like the nicest people in the world by nature. Like they're like the post-hippie.
Because they're high when they showed up to the game.
Yeah, maybe that too. But they have the attitude of the hippie without maybe all the like dreads and smells and things.
There you go.
Professional hippies play Frisbee.
There's got to be a new word for that. Are you guys doing tennis? Is there anything happening in tennis?
No tennis.
Are you a tennis guy? You got your Federer shirt on, man.
Yeah.
It looks good on you, too. You look like a tennis pro.
4-time Utah State champion in this chair right now. Thank you.
This is the slow clap, dude.
Slow clap.
For high school or what?
High school. all 4 years.
Ninth grade?
Individual
10th
and
grade?
team. 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Dude, congrats, man.
That
You
was
can
by
whip it,
far
huh?
the peak. It's been downhill ever since.
Where'd you play growing up?
I played in the Avenues, and I played for Roland Hall in high school.
Sweet, congrats.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. I grew up playing a little tennis, dude.
Tennis
My
is good times.
dad's big into tennis. We played at Lagoon.
I tried.
We played at some
tennis
other
once.
places. Yeah,
It was.
I can still.
Or was it
cover some ground, man.
badminton or
This is a
Badminton
random.
mattered.
This is a random Lagoon tie-in, but the guy who started Lagoon, Dave Freed, his father, I think, was a Wimbledon finalist in the 1950s
Ooh, nice.
from Utah.
Is he still alive?
awesome.
Let's get him on the podcast.
I don't know. He used to have this real overgrown, weed-covered court buried in the avenue somewhere, and I played on it once, and it was kind of cool.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on that, because
you.
that's fun.
It was a good time.
Any other like little? I mean, so we talked, Beehive Sports. We talked clothing. You got any other projects that you want to talk about?
I got a good one I really was hoping we'd get to today.
Well, let's
hear it.
Have you guys heard of Cards Against Humanity?
Of course,
Yes.
yeah. Never played. Well,
You haven't played?
I think I have. But
It's funny.
I'm familiar with it.
It's kind of becoming a popular adult party game of sorts. I played it, and it's great, except after you get 15 minutes in, I would get bored, because all you're doing is reading cards and laughing, and nothing like of substance is happening. So I and a guy I know invented a new adult party game that is kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but what we call it Cards Against Humanity, but where things actually happen. It's called Cool Cats and Ass Hats.
That's an awesome name.
Thank you. And coolcatsandasshats.com is the website. I paid a lot of money to have these like some tester sets made up, like 20 tester sets. So right now we're in the tester phase. If anyone is listening to this and wants a new weird funky game to play on your game night with your friends, go to the website. You can rent a set. I'll send it to you, or I'll bring it to your house here in Salt Lake if you live nearby, and you can just tell me what you think for free, obviously.
Let's try it out.
Should we organize like a party?
No, I was actually just thinking
Let's
of that.
have
We
a
should
party,
do
man. Anybody
an
like
I Am
just
Salt Lake game night.
Email Chris. I am Salt Lake at what?
I am Salt Lake
gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Drop me an email.
Let's have a party, dude.
Let's have a game night. I don't know where yet.
I go back and forth on a minute-to-minute basis of whether I'm a cool cat or ass hat. Most of the time.
That's very much the essence of the game. You could be either in any given hand.
What's the goal? How does it play
It's
out?
kind of like, okay, so say Chris is like the main person this round. Chris pulls over 5 cards that each one he may like or dislike. So like, for example, like bar soap or hires or George Bush Sr. or whatever. We try to guess whether Chris likes or dislikes each card. Whoever matches Chris most when he reveals his actual likes and dislikes is the cool cat. Whoever has the most discrepancy between themselves and Chris is the ass hat. And then good things happen to the cool cat via cards, and bad things happen to the asshat via cards. Like, one of the cards is, I think if you're the asshat, you have to text your dad, "I love you," all in lowercase with a period at the end, right then and there in front of everyone at the game.
Love it.
No, I'm serious. I would love to have a game night with this.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Any ideas of where we could do something like that, Dave?
We could do it anywhere. We could go over. We should go like set up on like Gracie's porch on a nice summer night and invite whoever out to come play it or something.
Their nachos are amazing.
I was serious.
Gracie's, you guys are invited to the Nacho Fest.
I want people to get in touch with me one way or another. Facebook, email, Twitter. Throw me a tweet at I Am Salt Lake. I would love to organize something like this. Just kind of meet some of the listeners of I Am Salt Lake. Hang out with some, with you guys over at,
If you're out there listening, don't be shy.
Yeah.
Get on Facebook or Twitter, or Instagram, or email. Contact Chris. Let's get a game night together. I'll bring as many sets as we have people for.
Or they can contact you too,
Or they
Dave.
can contact me. Either way, I don't care.
Or Ryan.
Hey, listen, I went to Davis High. We wore brown and gold. I've been called an asshat before. Like, we were, you're in the middle of a game. People are like, your uniform looks like you're covered in shit. Yeah, okay, you're funny. I'm not afraid of this title anymore. We could do this, dude.
Yeah, let's have
an asshat kickball team.
Yeah.
So are the games ready to go? I mean, are you ready to play right now?
They're all ready to go. I got like instruction sheets, the little voting sheets. I just want people to play to see what they think. If they like it.
Well, let's play. Even if it's just at your house, Ryan.
It's a pretty good time.
It's not a bad house, man.
Yeah, no, I love your house.
You're invited anytime, dude.
It's not no downtown living, but
It's not, dude. It's not downtown. I'm sorry.
I give this guy
as I digress away from
Where do you live?
being a former. I live in Holiday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nothing to be
It
ashamed
doesn't suck at all.
no, he's got a nice place and up there. But
so any other projects coming up that you want to disclose?
Oh gosh, I always have too many projects.
Are you you're kind of an entrepreneur type? You're kind of a dreamer. You're kind of
I'm a busybody for sure.
Really?
I don't like to sit still, so I'm always thinking up.
Well, what motivates you? Like, what makes you be this way? What makes you tick, man?
I mean, if people are having fun and smiling, if I can envision that as like a result of the work I'm going to do, that's really what gets my motor going. So
Start with the end in mind, all right?
Exactly. Like if I can imagine
Look for
people
solutions.
smiling, having fun, whatever, I'm probably going to put enough work in to get it to the finish line. So that's kind of my main motivation. But yeah, I don't know what comes after that, but that's it.
I think your next step is a podcast.
Yeah.
I try to inspire everybody to start a podcast.
I've been getting so into podcasts. Can I tell you?
Yeah, what do you listen to? I'm always curious of recommendations.
Reply All.
Okay.
Startup. I'm addicted to those two.
He got me addicted to Startup.
I finished Startup in less than 24 hours, I swear.
So good.
Like, I just couldn't, it just kept playing and playing and playing.
Yep.
had
Some of
to
the
hear
other
what's
ones,
next.
Tim Ferriss's podcast I like. He interviews interesting people.
I listened to that one too.
Which podcast is that?
Tim Ferriss, the guy that wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, he does a podcast now.
What's that called?
I think it's just like the Tim Ferriss
Ferriss
Hour
Show.
or something.
Really?
I listen to David Locke's jazz like breakdown during the season every once in a while. He's
Still a rabid jazz fan?
okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, big time. I got a jazz tattoo on my body.
Let's see it.
The listeners can't see it, but it's
Strong,
good,
dude.
huh? Right.
Strong. That's
My idea
love.
is every championship they win,
Yeah, no.
multiple championships.
It's
will be
pretty
engraved
sick.
The year underneath the tattoo.
God, that'd be amazing.
I need to get a Salt Lake City tattoo.
Yeah.
I tweeted Paul Millsap, congrats on his great season. He's got to
he's
come
the
back
man.
and help the Jazz. I really miss him.
So
Dude, our
anyway.
new Booker guy, though, he's kind of got his Millsap on.
Podcasts.
Started kicking
I
butt this
want to
year.
hear a few more podcasts you listen to because I'll geek out on podcasts, man.
I've been geeking out quite a bit. What else have I listened to? So Product Hunt, that's a cool one. It's like
Not familiar with that
they
one
just
either.
go through and kind of detail interesting, very, very early stage startups that are doing interesting things, kind of like Uber, but for every other of the 1,000 categories there could be an Uber, those sorts of things. What else? What else do I listen to?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you gave some good recommendations there
that's a pretty good handful.
because that's one thing. People ask me, "Oh, do you find other podcasts to be competition?" I'm like, "No. Every podcast is unique. Everybody's got a different voice.
Sure.
Check out. I mean, I subscribe to
last count was like 45 podcasts are ones I subscribe to.
I had to delete a bunch just to create more space on my 128 gigs iPhone 6. I had like 60 gigs of a podcast. I was like, okay, I got to start streaming more.
Planet Money's a good one.
Download less.
The NPR does a great job with their podcast.
I love NPR.
Planet Money's a good one. Their, Miss American Life, that's a pretty popular one.
Did you see Serial's coming out with 2 more seasons?
I feel like that guy's going to get off. I feel like
I've never listened to this, guys. I have never listened to Serial.
Ultimately, it's this high school murder.
Community.
Well, no. Actually, I take that back. I have listened to a little bit.
Thank you. You're back, dude. You're back in our good graces.
I have listened to a little bit. I was thinking of a different podcast.
This kid's in like lifetime sentence for jail, and he may have not even been able to execute the crime across town in the time frame where the prosecution said that he did it.
It's crazy.
I mean, he would have had to really murder this girl in a real tight window.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. It's interesting, and it's very good storytelling, and it's the probably top shelf production in the podcast industry. Like,
I'd agree.
Their production was A+. Great
sorry
story.
that my
great
production
storytelling.
can't be on the same level as Serial.
Hey, what was my first compliment to you before we ever even met in person on your birthday? How good your production was.
Well, when I was listening to Serial, I was actually thinking there aren't enough ambulances in the background. It doesn't feel enough like a true murder
production value
story to me.
Yeah. That's right, Chris.
My own thought.
Now we're talking torn Achilles. We got ambulances going in the background. I mean, this is the real thing.
How can people get in touch with you, Dave? Let's run down the list of contacts as we wind down this.
Beehivesports.com. If you want to have fun and meet a new person, I would encourage you to come out and hang out because it's a good time. And you get your money back if you don't have fun, so there's really nothing to risk.
You're on Facebook?
Facebook we're on. I'm trying to get the Instagram thing going. We have like 700 followers, but if I feel like I would have a really good night's sleep if we ever hit 1,000. So that's...
On Instagram you have 700?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
I know, but
do you need a better photographer?
4 digits is cool, right?
Start posting pictures, dude. You can do videos.
Yeah, we got some good stuff on there. Beehive Sport on Instagram. GSL Clothing is where we do the T-shirts and the beard butter.
And that's gslclothing.com?
Yeah, as in like GreatSaltLakeClothing.com, GSL Clothing. And we do that on the Instagram as well. And then, what was the other thing? Oh, Cool Cats and Ass Hats. Cool Cats and AssHats.com, all spelled out. That's the game. If you want to rent a set and play with your friends, go check it out. I'd love to have you.
And again, I really want to, even if we don't play that game, I'd love to have a game night.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do something with kind of, meet some listeners of the podcast and whatnot.
It'd be a blast. I'll be there.
I want like a Justin Timberlake hat for the Cool Cat person, and then like a poo with eyeballs emoji hat for the Asshat person that you kind of have to pass back and forth or something.
Anything you want to plug, Ryan, before we close out here?
Oh, no, I'm stoked on this, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
The Beehive Sports thing is awesome. I love what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Letting people in Salt Lake get out, cut the stress if they have a crappy job.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Dave.
I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Love what you're doing here.
And down the road, I always tell this to everybody that comes on, maybe we'll have to catch up.
Yeah.
Sit down, chat some more, find out what you're doing here in Salt Lake City.
Here you go. Summer just hit.
Boom.
It's been hot.
Boom.
Go enjoy it.
All right. Many thanks goes out to Dave for coming on this episode of the podcast, sharing his story, talking about the Beehive Sport and Social Club, talking about GSL Clothing. Go to the website, iamsaltlake.com/173. It's where you can get all the show notes for this episode and connect with Beehive Sport and Social Club on Facebook, connect with them on Twitter, as well as their website, all right there at iamsaltlake.com. Hey, there's a few ways you guys can support the podcast. Make sure to be telling your family and friends about any of your favorite episodes. Share with them on Facebook or Twitter. Also, you guys can donate to the podcast. $1 or $2 helps keep the show alive, helps keep it moving forward with buying new equipment, web hosting, audio hosting. You can find out more about that by going to iamsaltlake.com and click on the donate button. and it'll send you over to a PayPal link and help keep the show alive that way. Also, make sure to support Crucial Fest as they support the podcast as well. Go to crucialfest.com. You can see the complete lineup, a complete listing of all the bands that are going to be playing June 18th through the 20th right here in Salt Lake City. Also, if you have not left a review on iTunes, helps boost the ratings, helps get the podcast exposed to more people. Just go to iamsaltlake.com, click on the iTunes link. It'll send you over to iTunes where you can write a review, and it lets me know what you think of the podcast as well. Hey, also, I want to share with the podcast listeners. You guys have probably heard about Uber by now. If you have not had a chance to download the app and check this out, it's a great way to get around Salt Lake City. It's a great way to go out on a Friday night if you don't want to drive, if you want to have a couple drinks and not worry about having to wait and call and get a taxi cab. Just download the Uber app. You can, any smartphone, just go to the store and download the app. It's free. Enter in the promo code Uber Utah 801. Enter that in and you will get a free $20 ride on your first time requesting an Uber. So again, that promotional code is Uber Utah 801. Make sure to download it. Check it out. It's a great way to get around Salt Lake City. Anyways, thank you so much for the emails, for the tweets. Make sure to connect with me. I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking about the show. I'd love to know who you would like to hear on a future episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast. I'm here each and every week. Make sure to subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher Radio, however you listen to podcasts. And until then, get out and enjoy the city. And we'll see you guys again next week.